students, welcome back to our English class. Here it is a detailed explanation of the story, The Best Investment I Ever Made. Let's see the first paragraph in detail. On the second day out from New York, while making the round of the promenade deck, I suddenly became aware that one of the passengers was watching me closely, following me with his gaze every time I passed. The narrator says that on the second day of traveling in a ship from New York, he was walking around the deck. Promenade means a public place for walking. Suddenly, the narrator noticed that a passenger was watching him closely, following him with his look every time he passed. I wanted to rest to avoid the tedium of casual and importunate shipboard contacts. I gave no sign of having noticed the man. That means the narrator wanted to rest to avoid the boredom. Tedium means boredom. Boredom of casual and importunate shipboard contacts. Importunate means asking for things many times in a way that is annoying. That means he did not want to answer questions from strangers, so he gave no sign. That means pretended or acted that he did not notice him. Next paragraph. Yet there was nothing importunate about him. On the contrary, he seemed affected by a troubled, rather touching diffidence. There was nothing to fear, but the man seemed that he was affected by some problem. A rather touching diffidence. Diffidence means shyness or lack of confidence. The narrator felt that he was not confident enough to come to him and ask for clarifications. He was in his early 40s, rather short in build, with a fair complexion and clear blue eyes. His thin hair had begun to recede from his forehead. He was in his early 40s. He was fair in complexion and short. He had clear blue eyes. His thin hair had begun to stop growing from his forehead. Recede means to stop growing. His dark suit, sober tie, and rimless spectacles gave evidence of a serious and reserved disposition. He wore dark suit and sober tie. Sober means plain or not too bright in color. And rimless spectacles. Rimless spectacles means spectacles without frame. All these gave evidence, that means all these shows proved that he was a man of serious and reserved disposition. Disposition means nature. At this point, the bugle sounded for dinner and I went below. That is, it was time for dinner and the narrator went below. Let's move to the third paragraph. On the following forenoon, I again observed my fellow voyager watching me earnestly from his deck chair. Now a lady was with him, obviously his wife. The situation by this time had begun to intrigue me. On the following afternoon also, the narrator noticed that the man was observing him, watching him earnestly, very sincerely from his deck chair. Now a lady was with him. It was his wife. The situation by this time had begun to intrigue me. I discovered from my steward that they were Mr. and Mrs. Jonas from a small suburb of London. Now, Cronin was puzzled and he wanted to know more about this person. Intrigue means interested to know about someone or something. He discovered from the steward that they were Mr. and Mrs. Jonas from an area near London. When another day passed without event, I began to feel certain that Mr. S would remain too shy to carry out his obvious desire to approach me. The next day, the narrator felt that John was too shy to come to the narrator. However, on a final evening at sea, Mrs. S decided the matter. With a firm pressure on his hand and a whispered word in his ear, she urged her husband towards me as I passed along the deck. Anyway, on the final evening at sea, Mrs. Jonas persuaded her husband to come and talk to the narrator as he passed along the deck. Fourth paragraph. Excuse me, doctor. I wonder if I might introduce myself. He spoke almost breathlessly, offering me the visiting card he held in his hand and studying my face to see if the name meant anything to me. The man came to introduce himself and gave him his visiting card. Offering the visiting card, the man observed Cronin's face carefully. The name in the card did not mean anything to the narrator. Then, as it plainly did not, he went on with the same awkwardness. If you could spare a few minutes, my wife and I would like to have a word with you. This, then with great difficulty, he told the narrator that he and his wife would like to talk to him if he could spare a few minutes with them. Fifth paragraph. A moment later, I was occupying the vacant chair beside them. Haltingly, he told me that this had been their first visit to America. So the narrator went and sat near them. Then the man told him that this was their first visit to America. Haltingly means stopping or starting because of no confidence. It was not entirely a holiday trip. They had been making a tour of the New England states, inspecting many of the summer recreational camps for young people there. Afterwards, they had visited settlement houses in New York and other cities to study the methods employed in dealing with the cases of backward, maladjusted and delinquent youth. For them, it was not a holiday trip. They had been making a tour of the New England states to observing many of the summer recreational camps for young people there. Then they visited the settlement houses in New York and other cities. Their purpose was to study the methods used in dealing with backward, maladjusted and delinquent youth. That is, the youth having mental or emotional problems and those who showing tendencies for criminal behavior. Now we move to the sixth paragraph. There was in his voice and manner, indeed, in his whole personality, a genuine enthusiasm that was disarming. I found myself liking him instinctively. The narrator says that there was much enthusiasm in the man's voice and manner. John's whole personality lessened the angry of the narrator. Disarming means making people feel less angry or suspicious than they were before. The narrator says that he found himself liking him quite naturally. Instinctively means quite naturally. He began to like the man. Questioning him further, I learned that he and his wife had been active for the past 15 years in the field of youth welfare. That is, asking more questions. The narrator came to know that the man, John, and his wife had been active in youth welfare for the last 15 years. He was by profession a solicitor, but in addition to his practice at the courts, found time to act as a director of charitable organization devoted to the care of boys and girls, mostly from city slums, who had fallen under the ban of the law. He was a lawyer by his profession. Solicitor means lawyer. In addition to his work in the court, he was the director of a charitable organization devoted to the welfare of boys and girls. They were mostly lawbreakers from city slums. Slum is an area inhabited by very poor people. That's all for today. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Thank you.